with just reading a few verses from John 16, and then, like I've done before in recent chapters, I'm just really sharing a few reflections from that because there's a lot in. So are we on? So say hi to anyone who watches on the stream. We're sorry we can't do this every week, but hopefully if you've caught up with this, it's great to have you joining in. So John 16, and I think we've got some words for the screen, Roland. Is that right?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. So John 16, we're going to read 1 to 13. All this I have told you so that you will not fall away. They will put you out of the synagogue. In fact, the time is coming when anyone who kills you will think they are offering a service to God. They will do such things because they have not known the Father or me. I have told you this so that when their time comes, you will remember that I warned you about them. I did not tell you this from the beginning because I was with you, but now I am going to him who sent me. None of you asked me, where are you going? Rather, you are filled with grief because I have said these things. But very truly I tell you, it is for your good that I am going away. Unless I go away, the advocate will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. And when he comes, he will prove the world to be in the wrong about sin and righteousness and judgment about sin. Because people do not believe in me. About righteousness because I am going to the Father where you can see me no longer. And about judgment because the prince of this world now stands condemned. I have much more to say to you, more than you can now bear. But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will guide you into all the truth. A time is coming, and in fact has come, when you will be scattered, each to your own home. You will leave me all alone, yet I am not alone, for my Father is with me. I have told you these things, so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Well, these chapters that we've been looking at more recently, 14, 15, 16, and then on into 17, which is Jesus' amazing prayer, they are pretty dense, aren't they? They're full of truths that are incredibly important and yet quite difficult to summarize as a whole. And I've got a theme this is what's come to me, so I'm just sharing what's come to me as I read this chapter. And I'm cheating because I'm going to refer to some other Bible passages along the way. I hope that's all right. But what really came to me was the importance of listening to Jesus. You know, the importance of these words. This was a circumstance where he knew he was coming to the end of his earthly ministry. And he spent 3 years with these disciples. Here we are at the culmination of that point. And I don't know, it seemed to me this wasn't a long period of time, but it was incredibly significant. He was pouring out his heart to them about a whole range of really significant truths. The listen to him comes from the story of the Transfiguration. If you remember that story, it's from Matthew 17. Jesus takes 3 disciples up to the top of a mountain. He then is transfigured, becomes glorious, and alongside him is Elijah and Moses. That's a pretty unusual day. I don't know if you've had a day like that. I haven't, but that was a pretty amazing moment. And you know, Peter, bless him, has a great idea, like we're prone to. He sort of said, oh, come on, it'd be great if we built a memorial here. And out of the glory, a voice says, this is my beloved son. Listen to him. Listen to him. Now, I don't know about you, but you know there's a difference between hearing and listening. You know, if you're walking down a street, you might hear all sorts of sounds. And it has to be something incredibly interesting for me to stop and listen. Something like free ice cream for all over 60s. That would probably get me stopping and listening. You sometimes see people yelling the gospel on the street. Now, I'm not judging them, but I sometimes look at the faces walking by and thinking, is that really the way Jesus would do it? I don't know. God touches people. I did a bit of that in my early years, I have to say. God touches people in all sorts of ways. But it needs to be something that they hear that stops and they think, I'm going to start listening. It's different, isn't it? Sandra and I have often used this illustration, probably have done here before. Sometimes we're sitting at the table and Sandra will be talking. She has a need for more words in a day than I do, I think. And she'll say, are you listening? And you know, miracle of miracles, I can often quote what she said. But she's right. I was hearing and not listening. Do you get the difference? There's something, the words often are interchanged, but there's something different about it. And if we have the next slide, listen to him. There are several phrases. One of them is in John 15, cheating again, I'm sorry. I have told you this so that. I have told you so that you. And I have told you these things so that. Jesus was speaking with purpose. And sometimes we can maybe get a bit blasé. We read the word, we maybe have thoughts and impressions come, and it's kind of like, yeah, right. Jesus, my sheep listen to my voice. My sheep listen to my voice. My sheep listen to my voice. It's not enough to hear. We need to listen. And that took me, I'm sorry guys, I know we don't usually float around the Bible too much, but parable of the sower took me, that came to mind. Remember the parable of the sower? The parable, the seed fell on the hard ground. That was hearing without understanding. Oh, we heard. Yeah, Jack spoke again, or whoever spoke again, or yeah, I did my Bible reading. We hear, but without understanding. Falls on the hard ground, no fruit. Hearing with joy, but no depth. They were the ones with the rocks. The seed took shape, began to grow, but there was no consideration. What does that mean for me? How does that change my life? There was the weeds, I think, is the next one. Hearing without application. All the other stuff was growing and not touched by the seed, and it eventually crushed the seed and stopped it growing. And then the ones that produce fruit, hearing with understanding. How we hear is really important, and the key to that is that we incline our ear to listen. So I've got 3 phrases I just want us to think about very quickly. And so the next slide. From John 15. I've told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. Who's up for a bit of that? Sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? Now, by the way, I was really interested, this is a real side, something I read about how many of our England footballers have a Christian faith that they really practice. You'll see some of them do that as they go on the pitch. And mainly the guys from Pentecostal families whose faith is still real. Bukayo Saka, one of the top players, scored an amazing goal, is a born-again living Christian. Isn't that wonderful to know in that place? There were groups of guys that pray, probably on their training ground, pray in the name of Jesus. Now, probably guys on the Spanish team praying in the name of Jesus too, so don't read anything into that. But that encouraged me. We need believers everywhere. Now, tonight, some of us, I know a lot of you, probably all of you here, may not be interested at all. Tonight, some of us might be thinking we'll be doing that. Or maybe our Spanish friends will be doing that. But that isn't what joy is about. I waited 30 years for Liverpool to win the Premiership. And the next day was just another day. It was. And if England wins tonight, tomorrow morning it's going to be Monday morning. And whatever weights I'm carrying today, I'll be carrying tomorrow. So Jesus' words are the foundation of joy, but real joy, not the kind of, woo, fantastic, but joy that endures. Joy that is linked to our fruitfulness, yeah, that was part of the vine story David did last week. Joy linked to God's work in our lives. God's joy linked to our love for each other and the blessing that we heard this morning, lovely testimonies. But joy linked to eternal perspective, you know? This life isn't what it's all about. England winning the Euros is not what it's all about. Me having a comfortable life is not what it's all about. It's linked to trust, linked to a reality. Now Jesus, the passage, I haven't read the whole passage, but the bit before, just after he says, my joy might be in you, it's all about persecution. It's all about challenge and difficulty. So it's joy in the context of a realistic perspective of the life ahead for us. So he had a purpose. He was trying to impart to them truths. Jesus had joy, endured the cross for the joy set before him. Joy is something. Count it all joy when you face trials of many kinds. Anyone up for that? Not quite so sure, are we? If we're honest. And yet the great thing about the Bible, it doesn't paint an unrealistic picture. It says we're born into something bigger than ourselves. It's got an eternal perspective. It may not all be fantastic every day as we live down here, but we have an eternal hope, an eternal perspective. And Jesus was trying to impart that to the believers. And he wants to impart it to us, a joy that is not based on how well things have gone for us today, or whether our team wins, or whether circumstances are easy. So he speaks to us for joy. Next slide. I found this one amazing. I stopped me short. The start of the reading. All this I've told you so that you will not fall away. And I've kind of called this spiritual resilience. I'm sorry, I was going to put these in. What are these things called, by the way? Yeah, they're hearing aids. I need them. It's such a good sermon, I thought I'd better make sure. They don't help me listen at all, actually. And it's just easy on this kind of topic to shut off, say, oh, Jackson, I'm going on about difficulty again. No, don't shut off. Hearing aids will help, but turn on the listening button. It's quite a negative thought. Jesus, aren't you the Son of God? Haven't you got faith for your disciples? They're not going to fall away. No, he's a bit more real than that. He says, I'm saying some of this stuff to you because life at times is going to be so blinking awful that you will be tempted to fall away. Anyone relate to that? Anyone going through circumstances now that actually are challenging their faith? You don't have to put your hand up. I bet there are quite a few of us in this room where our faith is being challenged by our circumstances. Resilience is the ability to endure in the face of hardship. He didn't want them to be taken by surprise, and he doesn't want us to be taken by surprise. So you watch the news. What do you see on the news? Well, I know President Trump almost got shot last night, but you see murder, you see wars, rumours of wars. Actually, more wars than rumours of wars at the moment, isn't there? Jesus said, he said to us, another verse, he said, don't be surprised by this, guys. Oh, this is so difficult, this is worrying me. What if it comes to Britain? Well, there's no guarantee. There really is no guarantee. And if that's the basis of our faith, if it comes, we will probably fall away. So let's get real. Let's listen to the words of Jesus. And as we go through these chapters, I encourage you to read these chapters, 14, 15, and 16. This is the Son of God who loves us, gave himself up for us, pouring his heart out for us, to the disciples, but to us as his disciples. That we might have joy not because of circumstance, but because there's something deeper going on in our lives. We might have resilience, even though we hit various trials. I was really challenged. This is a really small thing, but it was big to us at the time. We got a survey report on our house, and we got an email from our buyers saying the things they want us to put right. And there were two that were kind of manageable, two that I thought were actually mentioned to us 11 years ago. And I thought, have I ignored something here? I was picturing 20, 30,000 pound bills and all these different voices of coming condemnation, worry, anxiety. 5 or 6 days of this. And it all, in the end, turned out to be a nervous surveyor and a structural engineer came and put everybody's mind at rest, which was, but it was a real challenge because I was preparing this at the same time. And I thought, why have I picked this topic? I should have just picked, but this was a real test. So just sit and say, Abba, you know about this. And if it's 20,000, it's 20,000. If it kills the deal, it kills the deal. Consider it pure joy. Well, I failed on that one, guy. I want to be honest, and easy to stand here. I failed on that one. God's got me there in the end, but it was kind of like, yeah, Lord, I need to listen to the words of Jesus. Joy, resilience. Last one. I've told you these things so that in me you may have peace. I just wish you'd stop there. Just listen to me, you'll have peace. That's his heart for you. Joy, resilience, peace. But he didn't stop there. In this world you will have trouble. But take heart, I have overcome the world. Now let's just be clear there. That doesn't mean we don't experience trouble. That's not what he's saying there. He's saying when you experience trouble, you will know that I am still Lord and King, that I am bigger, I am with you. Take heart. You're part of a bigger story. You're part of eternal picture that you've been born into. That lovely verse in Psalm 46, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. And sometimes in the midst of trouble we need to find a bench like that and just stop, to be still and know. Peace based on believing. Talks in Romans 15, joy and peace as you trust in him. This is what Jesus wants for us. So what about you today? Given what's going on in your life, what you're facing, what do you most need? Is it joy? Is it that resilience to get up and keep going? Or is it peace? Just hold that question for a moment in your hand. What would it be? Now, there are many things when Jesus speaks. He has a purpose when he speaks to us. But today, joy, resilience, peace. Just say to him, Jesus, of those three, that's something I would particularly need right now. I would like more of. Remind me of your words. Joy, resilience, peace. Go to the last slide, Robin, thank you. I've got an appointment to audiology, or oral care, I think they call it, to have my hearing aids checked. And I'm going to ask them if they could give me some listening aids this time, because I think they'd be more useful. And I want to ask you, are you listening? Are you listening? Are you a listener? Firstly, Have we got a desire to really listen to God? Find in some conversations I go into a listening mode and I allow someone to talk, to share. I try to keep my inputs to a minimum. And that's when I'm conscious of it. I'm trying really hard. Maybe I'm debriefing someone or coaching someone. But there are many other conversations where I can't wait to chip in my words, my thoughts, my perspective. Tell them my story because it kind of loosely relates to what they're saying. And I wonder if I do that with God as well. I come with the problem and I come with the solution and I tell God about it. He must, I don't know what he does. Does he smile? Does he? Maybe he weeps sometimes. Oh, Jack, just stop. Just stop. A desire to really listen. His words are a lamp to my feet. His words are life to us. I need your words, Jesus. I need your perspective on my life. I need your perspective on those in my life. So a desire to really listen. A willingness to really hear. You know, when people only say nice things, it's easy to want to hear what they have to say, isn't it? You're a lovely fellow. You're really gifted at that. You do that really well. Yeah, that kind of, I'll have as much of that as you want to give me. Maybe, don't worry, things are going to work out really well. Yeah. I remember when I went down with cancer, someone came round, and he was a very jovial chap, and he was just saying, oh, Leo, you're going to be all right, it's going to be fine. Someone else came round and said, you know, this is going to be tough, but let's take some time in God's presence and listen to what he has to say. Which one hit the spot? Are we willing to really hear? And I sometimes don't like my ideas, my perspectives being challenged. How I think things should be done. How I think I should be doing what's coming up. Maybe my theology at times has had to be challenged over the years. Because I kind of put it in stone. And God said, well, actually, you froze it a little bit early there, Jack. It was, you put it in stone a bit early. Mixing my metaphors. How open are we? Lord, you can challenge me any way you want. I want to hear. And an open mind and heart. With times we've been shocked by how we felt the Lord leading and the Lord saying, but you know, Lord, my mind and my heart are open to you. Whatever you want to say. You just hold those thoughts as we draw to a close. Which one of those three would you feel most speaks to you right now? Sometimes find it interesting just to think of Jesus just standing in front of me, a bit like when the woman touched the hem of his garment. Or maybe one of the dialogues with Peter, maybe any of the stories where Jesus met an individual, but Jesus' eyes on you. How do you respond? Lord, I want your words more than anything else. I need your words of life. Lord, would you speak into each of our lives? Would you grace us with open hearts, Lord? Maybe some of us even need to hear that first invitation. Come, follow me. Come to me. I will give you the rest you long for, deep in your heart. Jesus, we need your words. We incline our ears to listen. Amen. Now again, thank you to those watching. God bless you.